Welcome back to another wonderful episode of the Gruesome Garage. Today, we finally got our tubing bender together and we're going to test it out. We only have a short piece of 1 3/4, but we just want to try it out, so let's get bent. So you guys can see we just bent a 45 and doesn't really squash the pipe too much, a little bit as you can see, but I'm looking forward to using this thing to start putting a cage in the Jeep. So today it cleared up a little bit outside. Perfect opportunity for us to get this thing inside. As you see, we have our Jeeps in there now. Finally got the red Jeep in. I don't know if you can barely see it there, but we got a little room. I'm gonna pull the Saturn in and see the carnage. Recover our turbo, save that for the next beater we get. And first issue we have here, somebody lost the key for it, so found a new one. Let's get this lock cylinder turning. Got a new radio. Howdy.
As long as there's no lock, a push lock, I don't care. We don't need to turn it on. I don't want to lock the steering wheel.
We got the Saturn in the garage, nosed in. Now it's time to take this turbo off, save it for another project. Somebody's ripping some stuff apart here. We got the bumper off. We were hoping to find an airbag sensor we could smash, but no luck yet. We'll see. But we want to get this turbo off, take off the intake manifold and, valve cover, and see if we can find any destruction. We'll find out. We'll save that thing for the next project. We're gonna need a torque spit and an impact. Bingo.
What?
I'm not seeing any carnage.
Ooh.
Disappointing. Chain still there.
Uh-oh. We thought it was maybe the timing chain, but obviously it isn't. It's still working, so must be something else.
It's going to the junkyard. It's done. That's it. So as you can see, we've got the green Jeep in here. We've got the new one, Jeff's Jeep, And this thing's ready for some big changes. But first, I'm in the process of taking off my coilovers. We're gonna pull this front axle out, and we're cutting these hoops off. So we'll get these out, get this axle out, see what Jeff's up to.
We're gonna start this thing. This is just another $500 Cherokee, like all of our others, and it's about to get thousands and thousands of dollars worth of work done to it. Just a couple of axles, suspension work, unibody rails. Gonna stiffen it up. We're gonna get this thing ready for the trails, because I want to go wheeling.
We've got this axlectomy started here. The first stage is to get the vehicle up in the air and pretty much get everything just fully drooped, let her hang. It's not an issue. And begin cutting.
Everything has to be gutted. Almost everything out of here. We got to cut these control arm mounts off because I'm doing front stiffeners, mid stiffeners, rear stiffeners. But I'm starting from the front, working my way back. So let's get to stripping. You guys can see there's a little crusty, trusty, dusty rust that we're gonna have to deal with eventually. But other than that,
Nice amount of floor rot.
the unibody's really not bad. So
Let's get hacking.
let's get hacking.
Here it is. We got the floating front end. We got the axle out, control arms out. We cut the hoops out. We did a little shaving here, as you can see. Took this off. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Box it up nice. Clean it up. Once I take the engine out after we make the new hoops, I'll clean this whole section off and probably put some kind of cap over the frame where that pinch weld is. And hopefully do the same thing on the other side. Once you cut all this stuff out of the way, it's really simple. All you have is frame rails really, and that's about it. Jeff's getting ready to do the same thing over here. He's not cutting out his inner fender wells, but he will be essentially stripping the frame rail to put on a frame stiffener.
Yep, and control arm brackets. These are the stocks. They're getting out of here. I'm bringing the control arm bracket a lot farther back. And if you see up here, I got jealous of my brother and I started doing a coil pack setup on my Jeep.
What are you talking about? You're an idiot. So he's got these factory short arm mounts, and a lot of guys with the Cherokees will just put like a 2-3 inch lift kit. They'll just put short arms in, adjustable ones or longer ones. But on here you can see, instead of the mount being right here, I mean, this isn't a full long arm, this is more of a mid, but essentially you move it back so you can have a longer control arm on your axle. It gives you a smoother ride and a lot more flex out of it.
Exactly.
So that's what we're going for with this Jeep.
It's very important to have that when we're going around rocks and stuff. You know, you don't want the Jeep teeter and tottering. You want the axles to teeter, because if the Jeep teeters, you have a big chance of rolling over. Well guys, it looks like this is turning into a battle of the builds with Cherokees. As you can see, most of the stuff is off of the frame rails, or unibody rails on my Cherokee. The worst thing to do are these control arm mounts for the stock lower control arms. I ended up drilling out most of the welds and air chiseling it off. We find that to be the easiest way to do it, even though it's not really an easy thing to do in the first place. But this Jeep for an 89, other than the floor pan rot, the unibody looks very strong. Just needs to be cleaned up so we can get it stiff. This down here is the axle I'm going with. It's an 8-lug Dana 44 out of a 78 F250. Couple weak points about this axle: the axle shafts. So we got some RCVs, but mainly I got this axle because I couldn't find a 60. It works just fine though, and we'll talk a lot more about it later. Let's get to cleaning up the frame rails. Well, the undercoating slash caked on oil is now on the ground, and we really just have to deal with some of this paint, and there's really not much left of it. So best way to do that is with this beauty right here, or if you want to go nuts, you can use sandpaper, but who's got time for that? Makes it easy peasy. As you can see, by just using this tool and this little spongy guy, we've completely cleaned up everything that we need to install the stiffeners, at least the front. So let's get cracking on fitting this up. Here's the front stiffeners we use. You can see them already on Matt's Jeep. The brand is Hooligan. And the reason why we like these stiffeners so much, it's the only front stiffener that I've seen on the market that wraps around in the front and over here coming down where the old control arm mount used to be. I just think that these are so much stronger. Most companies will just sell you flat plates, and we just don't think that's the way to do it. All cleaned up and ready. Even the stiffeners are prepped, sanding them down in the spots where they need to be welded to, and hopefully by next video this front suspension will be slapped in, and we'll show you guys how to do that.
We got this frame also cleaned up, so we got 2 hover Jeeps here now, and we're gonna make new links, stretch this front end a bit, and I'll show you how I do that, and I'll show you a little trick we're gonna play here so we don't have to move the steering box forward. So tune in next week, and we'll keep cranking.